Hey guys, welcome back to the Chamber Guy. We are now in part two of our two-part series of interviews with global business leaders. Joining us today is Mr. Werner Baumgartner, the chairman of the Austrian Business Council, Dubai and the Northern Emirates. Mr. Baumgartner, thank you for swinging by.
Thank you for being able to be back with you.
Now, for our viewers, in case you missed part one, though, I would strongly recommend that you view that part first. Let me do a quick recap on what was discussed. In part one, Mr. Baumgartner told us about the early years of the Austrian Business Council and about their mission in the UAE. We spoke about the Strategic Energy Security and Industrial Cooperation Partnership that has been signed between UAE and Austria. And we also discussed the challenges faced by Austrian companies as they move into UAE and how they can actually bypass those challenges. Now, Mr. Baumgartner, I understand that the Austrian Business Council is pretty big on networking events. Now let's rewind. Let's go back a little bit. Due to the pandemic in 2020, 3 years ago, everything had to take a back seat. Tell us about your events and what was it like for you and your members during the pandemic and the aftermath?
When we started off, our networking events were, as I mentioned in the first part, basically they were either social events or business events, right? And then our main discussion within the board was always, should we make a breakfast event or do we make an evening event? So we were talking about these kind of things. Now, during the pandemic, for sure, this all came to a standstill. So in order not to lose contact with our members, we did two things. Number one, we started Zoom meetings. So that was the first thing we did. And it was, I think, especially at the very beginning of the pandemic, when nobody knew what's going on, everybody was very happy to jump into this call. So sometimes we had 4 calls a day with, for sure, different kind of people, but we were having no agenda. You know, it was really just about what did you hear, what's going on, how do you manage this and that, which was absolutely amazing. For sure, during the period of time, these kind of emergency meetings became less and less. And we started more having regular webinars. So also on Zoom, like we have a conversation right now. So instead of meeting in person, we had these webinars. At the end of the time, everybody gets very tired of these webinars, right? It's not the same as meeting in person. So now we have a mix. Even our board meetings, one board meeting is in person, the next one is online. And then again in person and online, because it simply works. You need to meet from time to time, but if you have just certain discussions to be held, respectively decisions to be made, sometimes you can make it also online. So right now, we do exactly the same. There's one element that I forgot to mention. During the pandemic, because we were not able to get together, we did exactly what you do with me. I started to conduct interviews with our members, short 10 minutes interviews, where we just ask people to introduce themselves, to introduce their business, and also to tell all the other members what they can expect, what kind of benefits it does have if they work with somebody, you know? So that's
very good initiative.
Yeah, no, and it was a necessity, you know? And the interesting thing is that I just got some requests from Europe who asked me, you know what, can we make an interview with you because you have quite an interesting approach how you present your members? And I thought to myself, yeah, but isn't that the thing to do? You know, you need to find a way to be in touch, to stay in touch.
Yep. That's true. Now, let's talk about the UAE Golden Visa. This was actually introduced back in 2019 with the main purpose of attracting and retaining professionals with exceptional talent within the region. Then in the following year, we had the pandemic, which reset most global economies. There have been significant changes to this visa with regard to the eligibility criteria. Right now, I believe there's a certain amount of flexibility. Would you be able to tell us a little bit more about this visa? And for an applicant who is a member of the Austrian Business Council, do you assist in the application at all?
Yes. So to answer the last question, yes, we do assist. But let me first get back to what the Golden Visa is. The UAE, same as all the other GCC countries, they were always very strict with the visa regime. So what kind of visas there are and how you can get it. During the pandemic and a little bit before, the government realized that there's a certain need to be more flexible and to keep talent here. Before, any visa that you got was valid for 2 years or 3 years. Now the Golden Visa gives the opportunity to have a residence visa on a long-term basis. So it's basically a 5 or 10-year visa, which depends. So the eligibility depends on certain criteria. So either it's your income level, or it is the position that you hold, or the government says, you know what, you're such an important person because you're a scientist, you're a sportsman, whatever. So we grant it to you, or you invest in real estate here. So those are basically the criteria that you can get. And in the end, you get a residence visa for 10 years. You can stay here for 10 years. The Austrian Business Council has the opportunity to support members of the Business Council in the application process. We had a meeting pretty much, I think it was exactly a year ago, with the Minister of Economy here. And in this meeting, he offered that members of the Business Council can have a fast lane approach towards the Golden Visa. You still need to fulfill the criteria. However, the vetting process is faster, number one. And certain elements are, how can I say it in the best way, dealt with in a different way. For example, if you need to prove your education, then the official program right now is that you need to go back to Austria, to your university. University makes a translation into English. Then you need to go to ministry and to consulates and blah, 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 blah. Now, if you are a member of the Business Council, then it's enough that we tell them, look, this guy he really finished this kind of study. So you save time and money in the process. And we can proudly say that I think about 1/3 of our members got the Golden Visa in the meantime.
Amazing. That is a really good thing. Now, since we're on the topic of your members, let's talk a little bit more about your members. I know they come from across a range of industries. Who exactly? What kind of industries are they coming from? This is a few-pronged question. Now, maybe you can tell us what industries are they from, and also with talk of global uncertainty, impending recession, people moving into UAE. I believe they are a little bit worried and a little bit wary about taking up any membership with either a chamber or a business association, because they do not know, number one, are they still going to be in business in 6 months? Or how long are they going to be there? So now they're a little bit wary. So tell us, what is the thought process that they go through, and also what exactly are the benefits of coming on board with you?
Right. Okay, those are really a lot of questions at once. So let me start with our membership base. Traditionally, we have between 60 and 120 members. So before the pandemic, we had 120. After the pandemic, we fell down to 60, and now we're back to 90. Half of them are corporate members, half of them are individual members. Corporate members, we have the big players like, for example, the energy company that I talked before, OMV, would be part of it. But we also go down to consultants, single person companies. Austria is not a country with one strong industry that dominates everything. We are really across a lot of different kind of areas, and that also reflects in our membership. So you can have furniture manufacturers, lighting manufacturers, you have people who are in crypto, artificial intelligence, so new industries, old industries, it all comes together. Now, the second question about people being wary to become a member. Yes, I absolutely agree. This is a big concern. Thank God we also have different kind of membership tiers, and we are not expensive at all. So a corporate member will typically pay about 500 euros a year, which is fine for corporates normally. But if you're an individual member, you would pay about 200 euros. And some companies we would even support. For example, we have SOS. This is an organization coming from Austria that supports homeless children around the world. That's a social charitable organization. Those guys don't pay. We just offer them the support of our network. So somebody comes into the country, we establish contact with them very often through the trade commissioner, who tells them about who we are, and then we invite them to our events. And if those people see that it's beneficial, they might sign up. And luckily, I have to say that in the last few months, a lot of people signed up. And if they don't see a benefit, for sure, we cannot force them to come in.
Right.
Good. What was the next point? The next question.
The benefits, actually.
The benefits.
The various benefits of signing up with you.
Yeah, right. Look, to sum it up, I think you can say the benefits that we have is access and information. Access you have to official Austria. So we give access to the consul, to the ambassador. Not everybody can walk into the offices, right? But a phone call from our side, and people can talk to them directly. Access also to a simplified or easier way to get visas to Austria or to the European Union, to Schengen area, if somebody needs it on an urgent basis. Like our consul did agree that people can have a fast track approach to get appointments for getting the visa. And this is one of the benefits, which is mostly used by our members, because sometimes people need to wait for 6 to 8 weeks to get an appointment. One call to the consul and they can get the appointment quite quickly. Information. So I experienced it firsthand when I was in Swarovski. Big company, such a company gets all the information that you require. Suddenly, you're not in a big company anymore. You don't have access to this information. So our weekly newsletters provide information. We have webinars, we have direct meetings that spread information. Then, especially for corporate members, very much of interest is they can get invited to missions coming in from Austria, whether those are political missions or trade missions coming into the UAE, and they can get direct contact with the politicians or with industry leaders in that field. Then we for sure have access to the chamber here in Dubai, which is for us something like an advocacy group. So we have a concern, we have an issue, we get information from our members, and through the regular meetings that we have with the chamber, we can also bring this across. So there are, I think, quite a lot of benefits. And then for sure, the last one is, we always said we are a networking organization. So somebody has a problem. We cannot give a solution as an organization, but you can talk to the other members. You can ask them, did you have a similar problem? How did you solve it? And then maybe sometimes just because of one lucky meeting in a networking event, you get a solution to something that nobody else could help you so far with. So plenty of benefits, I would say.
It's amazing. And the cost is not high at all. It's very, very reasonable for the number of benefits that you actually provide.
I do think so too. Yes. And we do not want to increase, because we have this discussion. So sometimes we say we should have more employees, then we can offer more. But on the other hand, we want to be a lean organization. We do not want to depend on the fact that we have huge members who give a lot of money into the organization. So we want to be flexible, and I think so far we were quite successful with that approach.
Right. Now, how can an entrepreneur or a business actually reach out to you to sign up for a membership? I understand we can do it online, or we can actually send an email across.
Correct. It's very simple. The easiest way is just to go to our web page, austrianbc.ae, go to the membership section, and then you fill out a form. And if you are accepted, because there are certain criteria, you need to, not everybody can become a member of the Austrian Business Council. There needs to be some kind of affinity to Austria, being an Austrian, representing an Austrian business, doing business with Austria. Those are the criteria that we're looking at. And if you fulfill this kind of criteria, we're happy to take you as a member.
Right. Now, I'm just going to ask you a question about what your thoughts are, your opinion, based on what's actually happening in the world today. We have various tensions, we have global uncertainty, people are talking about an impending recession. What would you want to say to businesses in Austria that are actually looking to come to UAE? What would you say to them at this point?
It's a great idea. The GCC countries are booming. The UAE are booming. Saudi Arabia is absolutely booming. They have a lot of government initiatives. They spend a lot of money. That's where the business is. Those are the places where you still can make money. Just be aware, as I mentioned before, you're not the only one who comes up with the idea. A lot of others also come up with these kind of ideas. So the marketplace is very crowded. But if you're afraid of a recession and you have the means of not necessarily relocating, but putting your business also into the UAE or into the region, then please really consider it. Do it. Because here, the word recession does not exist right now. The economy is absolutely booming.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Baumgartner. We have actually come to the end of this interview. Now, that was Mr. Werner Baumgartner, the chairman of the Austrian Business Council, Dubai and the Northern Emirates. If you are from Austria and intend to venture into the UAE to set up your business, or even if you are an individual in UAE with a direct or indirect link to Austria, or an individual in Australia with a direct link to UAE, now is the time to connect with the Austrian Business Council UAE and benefit from a host of special privileges the membership has to offer. The Austrian Business Council's contact details are shown below this video. For more information, you can actually visit their website at austrianbc.ae. That's austrianbc.ae. As always, thank you for watching, and remember to hit that subscribe button to watch more global interviews with the movers and shakers of the business world. Stay focused, stay blessed, and stay safe. I'm Francis Michael, and I'll see you soon on The Chiba Guy.